It's really weird how absolutely nothing happened between parts 2 and 4. Ah well, that's bound to happen now and then. That being said though, it is nice to be back with Glowbox and Andre, our good pals. Oh, right, actually Andre hates us and is kinda horrible. So, welcome to the land of the Livid Dead. Aesthetically speaking, this is probably my favorite area in the game. That being said though, level design, also pretty solid. Maybe not so much this beginning area. This is basically just here to say, hey, you can collect some crystals if you want. You don't have to, and honestly, Rayman doesn't really strike me as a game that makes it that fun to get score. Like, they position it in ways like this, but nothing about crystal collecting really feels compelling enough to be like, oh yeah, I want to go around and perfect my score. And by the way, that is one of those Matavuses I was talking about earlier. If I didn't mention it, you can zoom in the camera with the triangle button, and I forgot how to do that, which is why I hadn't really been doing anything with those until now. Anyway, that teensy right there is a Griskin. Griskins actually have a fair bit of backstory connected with them, but I'm not going to talk about that now because it's actually kind of apt for a different area, so for now I'll just say I kind of like their voice acting just because of how deadpan they are. They probably have some of the more random lines in the game. I don't know, I'm not too big on teensies because it's mostly just, hey, they have silly voices and say random stuff, they're wacky, but they're not really terribly interesting otherwise. But Griskin, I don't know, even if I don't like their lines that much, I do just like their voice acting. It's pretty good deadpan. Anyway, we picked up the Vortex back there, and I guess I can take time to mention that I looked it up, and I still don't know what shrinking the enemy does for you. Really doesn't seem to do much of anything except make the target smaller, which doesn't help anyone, really. Oh, and this guy took me forever to find. And it was driving me crazy because you can hear him if you go forward, but for a while I just didn't figure out, oh, yeah, there's a hidden passage right there, so make sure to take care of that. Alright, so that guy's actually going to create a heavy metal fist over there. I wonder why. Okay, Andre, it's very apt. That being said, I really don't think most lawyers are going to defend you for that very reason. 80% of the things you say will implicate you, probably because 80% of the things you say are threats. Creative threats, but threats nonetheless. Hey, wait. And suddenly Slapdash is out of nowhere. Also, I'm surprised this plum wasn't destroyed by that rocket. You don't have to use the rocket. I just felt like it. Alright, so, Glowbox, you gonna do anything? Yep, there you go. Great observational skills there, Glowbox. Anyway, really weird how we saw some hoodlums right there. After all, we started off the level and there was nobody, but, just a few slapdashes coming in out of nowhere. Oh well, I'm sure it's not too important. That plum got some distance. Anyway, let's pick up that heavy metal fist. And why? Well, there's an ambush. Surprise! Hoodlums. I actually do really like that, because the level starts out fairly calm, and then just you get ambushed by probably one of the higher amounts of enemies in the game thus far. I mean, it's not like I've been counting, but it definitely feels like it's fairly heavy on the enemies. Plus, it's a fairly small area as well. They just give you that heavy metal fist right there to take care of things a little bit easier. That being said, I also feel like it's a bit of a fair ambush, just because most of those enemies were basic enemies. There were slapdashes there, for crying out loud. That is one thing I like about Land of the Livid Dead. Bog of Merk really scaled back enemy encounters, and what I said earlier still holds true. It's not like Rayman's that fantastic in terms of combat. You just strafe and punch, but it does play up to that strength, you know. Combat's never too long, enemies don't have that much health most of the time, so, you know, it is basically just based on Basically based, oh man. It is based on whatever combination of enemies you have. So we've got a pretty good bonus room right here. Make sure to pick up a yellow crystal before picking up the emerald because, you know, you want the emerald added to your combo score. And oh my god, what have I become? I was just saying, oh, I don't care that much about combo score. It's not important. Except it is. I need that combo. Gotta have it. Inject that score straight into my blood. So anyway, one other thing about this room is it's a room with some cameos, apparently. Well, cameo, singular. There are those two teensies frozen right there, and we know what teensies are, but apparently the third guy is from Rayman the Animated Series, which there were only 4 episodes, but I didn't know there was a Rayman the Animated Series. That guy is apparently Lackmac. Again, don't know his deal, but upon looking up what Lackmac looks like, I found that he's horrifying, so, I didn't know Rayman the Animated Series existed before, and I really wish I'd continued not having that knowledge, to be honest, because that model is terrifying. Also, did I mention that this is one of my favorite enemy encounter themes? I don't know, I just like this one. It's vaguely eerie. But we just have hood stylers. If only we had some sort of new, interesting enemy here, and oh, it's like I knew that was going to happen. So, that is a hood stormer. They have some of the higher amounts of HP that we've encountered thus far. However, while they are flying, they're very easy to hit. They do fire off a lot of shots, but other than that, they're really not too difficult. On their own, at least. They can get tricky when mixed up with other enemies, of course, just because their rate of fire is good. It is a good rate of fire. Want to be wary of that. That being said, like other enemies, their shots are pretty slow, and they're probably not going to hit yet. Oh, speaking of not getting hit, I screwed up at that right there. Yeah, I guess he's firing a little slower? Shot size didn't change. I don't know, I don't think he was firing too much slower, but I guess I could be wrong, but yeah, I looked it up and I can't find the benefits of shrinking people other than it just happens. It's a fact of life. It's relatively meaningless, but it's there. Anyway, alright Griskin, give me that heavy metal fist. Alright. Give it to me over here, why not? Alright. Okay, that doesn't look like a heavy metal fist. No, that is in fact a shoe. So we've got a small gameplay mechanic here where we have to chase after and crash into the shoe. Okay, I know I was ragging on the game for, you know, the whole lack of suspension of disbelief jokes earlier, but I gotta be honest, I got nothing for this. You can't be injured while doing this little mini game, but you can lose a single point by hitting the walls while dashing, so stay on target. Anyway, I would like to take a bit of time to talk about the GameCube exclusive mini games, since they're GameCube exclusive because you have to hook up the Game Boy Advance with a copy of Rayman 3 for the Game Boy Advance, I believe. So, yeah, I've never played those mini games, and I don't think there's a way to emulate that, so you're not seeing it. That being said, 2 of the 3 are sort of racing minigames. They're very similar, it's just, it depends on how many players are playing. Mad Tracks is 2 players in which 1 player is in a shoe and the other player is building a track on the Game Boy Advance. Wheelless is 4 player, in which 2 characters are racing, and, you know, their respective teammate will be building a track for them. Anyway, I think we're at the end of this section, so we'll take a brief break from that. The last character in that section, or the opponent character for that minigame, rather, is a character we haven't actually met yet, so I can't talk about him. Anyway, surprise! The Hoodlums have... I wouldn't really call this a base, but there's an alarm somewhere, so, hey, they've got electricity running, probably. That's pretty good. Alright, so this encounter's kind of difficult, if only because that guy's a pain in the ass to reach. Oh, also this Hoodstormer comes in out of nowhere. He's not so bad, though. But yeah, this guy, right on the edge of what's difficult to hit. One of my test recordings, I actually jumped to hit him, which, don't know how I did that. Anyway, take care of this Hoodstormer before anyone else comes in. It's easy enough when he's alone. If you don't want to charge punch, keep rapid punching. I don't think anyone has invincibility frames, and of course he's gonna stay right there. That being said though, this is a pretty good run actually. I have had runs where the Hood Styler has survived until the other one comes in, thus making them both more annoying. Anyway, that's enough of the Hoodlums for now. We gotta slowly swim to grab these crystals, and I don't think it's actually possible to get... Well, maybe you can get this last one without the combo running out. I don't know. Oh, and there's another Hoodstormer. I thought we were done with that. Ah well. We can test the Lockjaw on the Hoodstormer. Lockjaw is one of the best items for this guy, so... yeah, if you have Lockjaw, you're gonna decimate them. Anyway, yeah, as I was saying, that's just an example of why I don't feel like this is really a good score attack game by any means. Because, you know, most games which are like, okay, we're going to encourage you to get score, they'll generally make it so it doesn't suck to collect stuff. Like, it didn't feel like it was my fault that I wasn't able to get those, it just felt like I happened to collide with a wall, which, what was I gonna do? That area was too thin, and swimming's not slow, but it's not fast enough either, so, yeah, it's no reason to get score, really. That's why I keep saying that, and yet I keep doing this to myself anyway. The fool that I am.
I may not be very brave, but when I'm scared, it's not for myself.
Oh, this is beautiful. No, really, guys. I'm all verklempt.
I am so glad there is a wiki with random quotes from the game in it, because I would not have figured that word out on my own. Verklempt. Not familiar with it, and also, just hearing it in this game is not exactly easy. Alright, this is not so bad. Though that being said, the little pillars right there do act as a bit of a shield for strafing against him, so be wary of that. And going down... Oh, wait, no. I was thinking of something else that's going to happen soon, but not here. This is another one of those rooms where it's pretty much just here for score, so if you don't care, which I shouldn't, then you can skip it. Another one of the Matuuses? I keep having to check my notes just for these guys, because I keep forgetting their names, because otherwise they're fairly unimportant. There's also one of these guys over here, the, Trebels. Don't screw this up for me, Glowbox. Or you, Andre. More suspicious of you. Alright, so, now that the room is pretty much cleared out, please past me, please. Work with me here. Oh, come on. Okay, I gotta scan the room to make sure that... Oh, there's one crystal. Oh, two. Okay, past me. I was gonna yell at you, but... Alright, I see where you're coming from. I see where you're coming from. That being said, that room's better than this one, where we meet the Grim Keeper. I really do not like Grim Keeper. Basically, his gimmick is you have to strafe around him enough. Actually, I think you sort of have to strafe in one direction and then immediately strafe back to the other. The problem is the enemies he releases just charge at you, meaning you can't actually strafe back and forth the way you would want to. You kind of can, but, like, he makes it difficult and not in a way that feels fun or good. Yeah, like, oh, okay, so there we go. I think I'm actually going to fast forward most of that, because you sort of get the point.
Like, you can get a feel for how much he has to turn before you turn back and you have to hit him. But those exploring enemies are such a pain. I don't think this is good design. Because because they block you away from doing the thing you need to do from actually hitting him, and he releases them frequently, and I do not find jump attacks reliable enough to really, be a good, effective strategy for RunKeeper. So pretty much the best way to go about this is be diligent and explode the enemies before they curve around and get in your way.
Which is easier said than done, of course. Well, actually, no, it's not that hard to do. You just have to focus on them a little bit more. Anyway, yeah, that's that encounter. Thankfully, Grim Keepers aren't too common from what I remember. But then again, I'm only so far in my test file. I don't like to get too far ahead just so I can have at least a little bit of muscle memory, though admittedly I did play the next stage just because it's a fun one.
Hey, Rayman, I didn't know you had a twin.
No, that was Rayman 2. That joke didn't make sense. Okay, so that guy was necessary.
I have to wash my hair. Ooh.
We should grab this just, to increase some score. Yellow gems? Yeah, made you worth 20 instead. That'll show them. Oh, and I'm definitely going to fast forward this room because this is obnoxious. I say, not because I was bored or anything, but because I know this is going to be awful. My only pro tip for this room is try to make sure Throttle Copter doesn't run out before you grab the emerald like it did for me, because then it's going to be worth a lot more. Unfortunately, though, Throttle Copter does not last any good amount of time. Okay, so yeah, I'm not subjecting you to that torture. Unless you're watching the non-com version, in which case, eat it, you have to deal with my mistakes. But yeah, that special room is not really all that good.
I don't feel
It's just fly around randomly and collect some crystals. Alright, so, upon breaking this door, we've got another new enemy. This is Hoodoo, and he has a fantastic theme. So, his gimmick's fairly simple. Anytime you try to attack a different enemy, Hoodoo will appear, and that's your chance to hit him. You can get multiple hits off on him, though that can be kind of difficult. Now, Hoodoo's actually pretty difficult in his first encounter just because this circular arena that the other dudes are firing at you from. That being said, though, yeah, Hoodoo's difficulty, of course, depends entirely on what else you're facing. And I feel like there's some encounters with him later in Land of the Livid Dead that are actually easier than this, but I gotta admit, I do really like this encounter. I just like the little arena they've got going on. It's a good ambush sort of technique, and I don't know, his intro's not itself isn't amazing, it just shows him being like, whoa, there's a dude, better make shield. But again, fantastic music. One of the better pieces in the game, definitely. Though there is one I like a little bit more. And take care of him. Alright, so, there goes all the burdens around here. Yeah! Love that lighthearted yaha. And hey, battle music's over, buddy. You gotta be done and cleared out. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Actually, I'm not going to notice that either. You can do whatever you want, I don't care that much. As long as you're not cosplaying, I'm fine, you're not in the way. Also, I'm not even sure that's the accurate line, but I can't find that quote anywhere. So I'm just going to assume that's what he said. Again, sometimes it's hard to hear what people are saying in this game. Audio quality, not the best, and by audio quality, I mean my ears. Anyway, we're actually pretty much done here because Land of the Livid Dead is pretty long, mainly due to the next stage. So, next time on Rayman 3, we'll continue and finish the Land of the Livid Dead. Though no matter what, we'll never learn why the dead are so livid. Other than, being dead. That seems like something to be livid about.